Recording. Let's go. Welcome to Naked, the authentic podcast with Matt and Phil. Matt Digidoo Schwiner, as his nickname. Podcast where we talk about stuff that happened to us, things that is happening in our complex brain, and everyday question, but maybe everybody has. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Just snapped out of a weird feeling just before we started. And yeah, I feel ready. I like your intro. Digidoo Schwiner.
What was the weird feeling?
Just you know, when you plan something and you're sure that it's going to be, so let's say, okay, I'm sure that the thing was tomorrow night. So my plan was to be a day in advance and to do things today. But then you wake up in the morning and you realize that it's not tomorrow night, it's tonight. So you try to go and snap everything super fast and nothing works. So you just get fucking pissed at yourself for not having just known previously the right moment that you should do. So yeah, I was just pissed at myself. So it got me into that loop of like, oh, let's just record a podcast later because now I have to do these things, whatever. And I was pissed at myself, and I was like, we're just messing with all my schedule and everything. So I just snapped out of it. I said, like, fuck that. Let's just do the podcast, and that cannot be more authentic. It cannot not be more naked, because I literally said to Phil 10 minutes before the podcast, fuck that, let's record it tomorrow. And 2 minutes later, I said, fuck that again, and just let's do it. And we
5 minutes later, which is the thing I ate also, but it's okay. You know, when someone tells you, hey, you know what, change plans, and you're like, what do you think? And then you say, okay, yeah, no problem, let's do that. Okay, I will do something else. And then suddenly, you know, you have like this silence. You're waiting. Nothing happens. And it seems like the person disappeared. And then suddenly they come back and we're like, oh yeah, I don't know, it's fine, let's do it anyway. And you're like, fuck.
So Phil, just before we hit the play, you were telling me that you get pissed so much at indecision in life.
Oh yeah, so much.
So I tell me more about it. I think that's a really good point to start from.
I think it's because I'm a Leo. I'm going to talk about star signs.
Astrology podcast.
Astrology podcast for your well-being. So 2 days, it's a sunny days for Leo. Yeah, I think it's because I'm a Leo, but that's true. That's linked also to my star sign. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because Leos are impulsive. We're impulsive. Exactly like, you know, let's record a podcast. I will say yes right away. And it's like, sure, let's do it. Yeah. Oh, we should go to a beach. Yeah, sure, let's do it. No problem. Oh, we should do that. Or maybe, I don't know, we should go to a beach or go to a mountain. Yeah, sure, let's do it. I'm impulsive like that. And I'm not dwelling on something. If it's like, let's go right or left, let's take a decision, go right or left, but let's not think about, oh, maybe we should go right, or maybe we should go left, or today maybe we should go see the Empire State Building, or maybe we should go to, but there is nothing more than piss me off like straight out of the day. Like it's like for me, it's like indecision, it's the worst. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I plan stuff. Doesn't mean like it's two things that are completely different, which I can plan my schedule and everything. I don't mind changing it, you know, if something happens or, you know, someone doesn't feel it or whatever. But I just want a decision taken.
Yeah. Are you when you go to restaurant? Are you super or like for you? Is it super easy to order what you want to eat on the menu?
Most of the time, yes. I guess it's when I try new restaurants or I want to try new things. Because generally, you go to some places where you're like, okay, give you an example. In Spain, like I'm in Barcelona, obviously it's a touristy city, and so everybody wants to eat tapas. I've been here for 5 months. I've been to a lot of restaurants. Tapas has started to be a little bit like, okay, I had enough, I had enough tapas, or maybe there is some, but I didn't try it yet, patatas bravas and all that. Like I know I'm going to say it with my English accent, patatas bravas, you know, and Marillones, like the English people that talks here in Spanish. I start to be, so I'm trying to find new things. And this is where, you enter this territory where it's a bit unknown. It's really, but I don't know. How are you about indecisions? Do you have no problem with that or?
No, no. It's just that like you already heard about that. That like they say that how you order on the menu in a restaurant is how you take decisions in life.
Really?
So if you go with that if you go with someone at the restaurant and if it's someone that takes the menu, looks a bit at it and say like, all right, close it, I'm eating that. It's someone that is really, really decisive in life and that has no problem taking decision and even having a lot of option. They know what they want. They just go and there's this other person that just cannot seem to be able to make a choice, and then everyone at the table is waiting on them, and then the waiter is waiting, and then they're like, oh wait a second, like I'm not sure, and then everyone order and the waiter come back at the end and is like, so what are you going to take? And they're like, I'm going to take this one, right? Because they are pushed against the wall and they need like to order something, and they just cannot seem to make a decision. And I've heard that somewhere, that how you order at a restaurant is how you deal with your decision in life. And it's pretty interesting. In fact, I've noticed a couple of people that.
Yeah, you just made me remember an experience about that with my ex. She was not capable to take a decision at restaurants. And I was always, choosing the stuff. And what happened generally, I learned that after a while. And so I developed a trick for that. Trick for men or for a woman that have a man that is indecisive in restaurant. So what happened is that generally, I know what I was choosing because I wanted something specific. And she was always, oh yeah, I don't know. Blah. And so she was choosing something. And when the plates arrive, what happened is that generally my plate was always bare. I'm a gentleman, I can eat approximately anything. So generally my plate was finishing on the other side of the table and it's finishing on my side. So I learned through time, I know it's a bit of manipulation, but since I'm going to get her plate, I was helping her choose. So that way, I will still have a second choice. I don't need to do it. It's a small trick, but I think a lot of people apply when they go to the restaurant.
That's so wrong. That's so wrong. Because that's so wrong because that's, oh my God, that's so you. That's so you. And that's so me before also.
No.
This is, oh yeah. It is the exact example of the savior pattern. Like the total pure example of that. Because you think you're helping her, but you're removing. No. Listen. You're removing all the power from her. You say, instead of inspiring her and say, I'm not gonna give you my food because I can decide what I want and I'm gonna decide and that's what I'm gonna eat. And I know you can do it. And come on, like you can do it. Choose what you want and do it and get the power in your hand. And you're like, oh no, I'll just get my plate. So it's like feeding the pattern of her of not being able to decide. And it's like, oh, you say you're a gentleman, but what you are is a savior. You're trying to save her and make her small, that she cannot take her own decision and shit. And I tell you, I know you don't want to hear that, but that's exactly
I don't
know.
I don't know about this one. I don't know about this one. It's not about saving. It's just that paying. It's good that we talk about all that. You know why? Because it makes me remember, what are you ready to pay for peace? There's nothing to do with being a savior, or maybe for yourself, but what are you ready to pay for peace? So what I mean is, how much are you capable to take on? So let's imagine like you're with someone that is indecisive, right? And you're visiting,
Yeah.
worst case scenario, happened to me, right? Multiple times. You go on vacation, person you're with are indecisive. They don't know where they want to go. They don't know what they want to visit. Okay. And whether it's friends or partners or whatever, doesn't matter, right? And let's imagine like there is no constraint. So there is no small kids. There is no, because obviously, when you have kids, you can't go far, So let's imagine something where it's just adults, people that normally can handle themselves, not create a tantrum at any time because they didn't get an ice cream. And you're going with them. How much are you ready to take to stay with a group or your partner before getting pissed at the indecision? I just want to know that. And how much are you ready to bend your will to get some peace afterwards?
I'm not sure I totally understand. Like you're saying in that setup, how much am I willing to endure before she takes the decision?
For example, but also that she's indecisive, and that if you take a decision, maybe it's not what she wants to do, so you try to push where she wants to do, like for example the food thing. Do you prefer to take the food and not hear about it, so you take the food, everybody's happy kind of, or you're going to say, okay, no, you need to eat your food, and so you listen to someone complain about their food and after the restaurant? So that's the piece I'm talking about. How much are you ready to
no. Okay, I get it. I'm gonna say that for me it's a short-term vs versus long-term problem, and what I mean by that is that the me, because I've lived it, the me from before, I would have done probably the same thing as you. So it's a short-term gain for a long-term loss. to go and to say, oh no, it's fine, like don't worry, you can eat my plate because it obviously it looks better, right? And I'm gonna eat your shit plate that you got anyway, and it tastes better, whatever. So that's a shorter gain. That's a short-term gain. But if you do that all the time, over the long term, you empower the wrong side of her. Like you're not helping. Like over the long term, you're gonna get that you will get dissatisfied because you know what you want. You're fucking order your plate all the time and you cannot eat it because you give it to her because she cannot take a fucking decision. So one time is a shorter gain, but when you do that all the time, it's a long-term loss for you, for her, because she obviously won't grow. Like she won't know and push herself to decide because what you're telling her, if you don't decide, you're still gonna get a good thing because I'm there and I'm gonna save you in that moment. Instead of saying her, you can't do it. Like maybe you're gonna fail a couple of times, but choose something, go with your gut, and then when you got it, if it's not good, well, next time it's gonna be better, and to help her learn to take decision. So it's always that balance, and you bring really a good what you say, like to get peace and how much you're willing to take. For me, it's simply seeing short term or seeing long term. So on a date, you can totally be a gentleman because you don't really see long term with the date.
You have to be a gentleman, okay?
You don't give a shit, really.
We're not going to enter that, but you have to be a gentleman. Whatever happened, okay? I believe in gentlemen still. I know I'm born in the wrong century. Doesn't matter. You have to be whatever she does. And it's funny. I just want to say something. It's funny how it went, and you see the experience and the pain that you got in your experience, because I know I know when I took that example, that is like just me. I see you talking about it and I say, okay, this guy like got it also. Like it's like, yeah, there's something, we get each other, right? I love it.
Totally. but I think that maybe your definition of gentleman is like tainted, or because being a gentleman is not being a savior. Like you have to be really wary to like opening a door for a woman
Amen to
is
that.
being a gentleman. You're not
Yeah.
saving her from the door. Like, like it's just being nice. But and it's not because you know she can't open the door, and she knows that she can open the door by herself, but you still do it just to be nice. That's being a gentleman. When she doesn't know and she doesn't believe in herself enough to make a fucking choice at the menu of the restaurant, and you say to her, no, no, you can take my plate anyway, she that's where it's different, because it's not something she can do and you do it for her. It's something she cannot do and you do it for her. So that's really, really, really different.
No, no,
And
no. This is where you do a trick. You know, this is where you start to learn. You know, like when getting with someone is learning about them, and you accept their faults, and you accept their strength, right? You build on that. You have to build on it. But this is about indecision, and I know it's me. I know that indecision is the thing that like it's
yeah, no, but it's a really good point, because if we make a parallel to, let's say, house chores, I never know how to
chords,
pronounce that. Let's say I need to repair a chair. Like the chair is broken, and
Are you gonna say it's a man's job?
no. But I say, okay, Jamie, she don't want to do it, or like she's not, like, let's say Jamie, she's not good at repairing chair, and she doesn't really want to do it. So I can be a gentleman and say, no, don't worry, I'm going to take care of it, and then repair the chair, or just a man or whatever, not a gentleman. But if she wants to do it, even if she's not good, and I say like, no, it's okay, I'm going to do it. Well, I kind of remove her from learning something she would like to do.
True.
So it's not like black or white, like should you do that or should not. It's always in relation to, like, if you do things for the other person when they are trying to do it, you're like removing from them the power they can get from doing things themselves.
You see, I had this discussion with someone, and it's funny there, because I feel you're seeing it just from one point of view, which is the external thing. So, giving you an example that you were taking, or I'm going to take another one, changing a tire, or,
Okay.
holding the door. Also, holding the door could be also in the swings. Holding the door, when you enter a cab or things, or, holding the grocery bags or things that are heavy. Okay, that kind of thing.
Mm.
So I agree with you in the sense that you're always thinking about the other person and saying this person can do it and she wants to do it. Okay, but you're forgetting something. I was taught, for example, from the beginning that I'm the man of the house. And so there is stuff that my sister and my mom were not supposed to do. For example, changing a tire. So when my sister, had a burst of tire, my dad called me and he was like, you go change it. And I was like, what? I was waking up and someone was like, no, like your sister shouldn't change that. You should help her because you're the man. And it has nothing, it has nothing to do with the other person. You're doing it because you feel better as a man because you're supposed to do it. Does it make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So I get what you say about, the other person and the way that you're the savior and all that. I get that, but it's also true with yourself. It's also not bad. It's because I feel that, there is the convention that are coming also into that, about the thing that you accept or not accept and all that, and what you should accept, what you should not accept. And you have these paradigm that are coming from society and everything. And suddenly you're like, oh yeah, I shouldn't do that because, I shouldn't accept that. And something that, when a man hold me the door and all that, you think that I'm less a woman or whatever. And I had this discussion. I said, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. It's because I want to do it, because I feel more a man because I do it. And that's true. That's so true.
Yeah. That's definitely another aspect to it.
But except indecision, what bothers you?
Oh, well, that's funny because I was thinking I wanted to like touch on indecision on one side, but I wanted to touch on indecision. What causes indecision, in your opinion? It's probably hard for you to tell because you're not someone that's indecisive that much.
I noticed that so for myself, I noticed that when I'm undecided, it's whether it's because there's something I don't want to do, first thing. Second thing is because I think too much about it.
Mm-hmm.
I start to become in this rabbit hole where I have to take a decision onto something, and I think and I overthink it, and suddenly I become indecisive on this thing. And I hate that.
I hate that.
It's and I notice that also to people. So you talk to them and they're like, oh, should I do it or not? And the best example for me, it's when people ask you, and this is also, it's they're in a job, they're having a job, and there is this recruiter or headhunter that call them, and they're like, look, we want to see you, we saw your profile, it seems interesting for us. And people always ask you this question, oh, I don't know if I should go. And it's like, what do you have to lose? What do you know about that job? Nothing. They just call me. Okay, cool. Do you like your job? I'm like, yeah. But I mean, do you feel like super happy? And you're like, yeah, but I could look elsewhere. Like, go then. Yeah, but if I don't like it, don't take it. But if I like it, take it. What do I know? and they start this rabbit hole where they're like thinking about the stuff before doing it. And I don't get that. For me, it's like the best choice that you could make, and this is why I hate indecision, is, and maybe that's a problem also with indecision. Sorry. So that's a double thing. Indecision can come from the fact that you're thinking too much, or it can come from the fact that you have too many options. One or the others. There was a psychology test that was done on jam, taste of jam. And there was 2 tests that was done, 3 tests, I think. They had to select between 4 different jams, between 7, I think, and between 26. And the thing that they believed is that the people will love more of the 26 sort of jams, and they will buy more. What they noticed is that too few choices, people don't buy enough. Too many choices, people buy too much. People don't buy it either. You have to reach this point where people have enough choices that they can figure it out in their head. And I think that's the 2 things for me that yeah. What is it for you?
Oh, I love everything you said. That's so true. I think I'm not sure because I don't know them by heart, but I think there's a cognitive bias that's involved in that, and one is like the fear of missing out. It's like you cannot choose because it makes no sense because whatever you choose in these options, you feel that you're going to miss on the other option. If you choose any of them, you're going to lose the others. So it's like the fear of missing on the option. And the more option, the more you feel like you're missing. Instead of like focusing to what option you really prefer and saying to yourself, I'm winning because I'm choosing the best one for me. And I'm not missing. But also, I don't remember what was the other one. But I know about the study you talked about. It's like you have to think that you're winning. So that's the other one. It's you have to feel that you're winning. So if there's only like 2 choices, your brain doesn't feel like it's winning enough. If you have 4 choice and then you take one, so you either go on you fear of missing out on everything, so you cannot decide, or you decide and you feel that you're winning because you're getting the best out of all, like the best deal. Like if you look, let's say you're looking to buy a camera, and then you look on 4 sites, and then you find the site that has the best deal, and like boom, I just won. So that's this concept of winning something. And on the flip side, if you start looking and you overthink and you start looking on fucking 20 sites, now like some sites have a couple cents different or a couple dollar, and now you don't know which one to choose, because you're like, oh, maybe the shipping is different, maybe, and then you just get lost in the options, and then you cannot decide. So that's totally true. That I believe that's exactly the same. And I think that overthinking is the killer in that. It's one of my personal experience. I told you a lot about the changes I did in the past 2 years in my life. Well, one of them was to be in action, to stop thinking, to stop focusing on what I could win, what I could lose with these choices, and trying to overthink everything, and just be in action. Like, you think about something, you want to do that, do it. You want to eat that, eat it. You want to, like, you just do it. And then the more you do that, the more you begin to be in action, and you take easier and faster decisions, and you grow so much, and you experience so much more than being like paralyzed in your head. So for me, I also really hate indecision. Maybe not as much as you, because I'm not a lion. I'm a small, kind Virgo. But
oh, you're a Virgo. Oh, okay, I got some stuff now.
I'd explain everything.
I'd explain a lot of stuff. This is why sometimes, like, you're thinking so much. You're more calm, more organized than ever. Oh, this is why it works so well. This is why it works so well between us. I get it now. Because I'm more action, where you're more like tranquilo, despacito.
Despacito, exactly. And me, I'm more of a conceptual thinker, and you're more of a rational thinker. So I can totally see that for you. Like, when I get lost in the concept, and you're like, it's almost the same thing as the indecision and the decision. For you, it's like, okay, tell me like a fucking guideline, and tell me the timeline, and like, okay, what is what and when, and then and me, I'm like just going into the big concept and understanding things and point, and like, yeah, it's a 2 different way of thinking, which I would say mine leads to more indecision.
Yeah, the thing is that I feel that sometimes I pushed it too much. I believe in a lot of what you say. Fear can block you from doing a lot of things. Fear can really block you from living your life.
Yeah.
And if you're not into action, you're going to miss so much stuff. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to be like, you know what? 5 years ago, I was thinking about building this thing, and I still haven't done anything. And I haven't done it. The thing is that I never regretted to be into action, but I lose the will to work on some stuff because it was too much thinking, too much. And this is why I'm not a good corporate citizen. Also, I'm not a good corporate citizen, because I can't be in those. I can't. This is why I was asking you, earlier, how much are you ready to take on? How much are you ready to support to be able to continue? And it's like, and in corporate, for me, it's the hardest, because you're in those meetings and you're like, nothing happens. And you talk about meetings that's going to happen in the next meetings, and things that you're going to do a meeting to prepare the meeting that is going to prepare the meeting. You're like, wow. How
it's like a whole structure based on indecision.
And I get why, but it's good to be in indecision for those people. You have to remember that they're big corporates and they're earning money right now. Everything is going well, approximately. And I imagine, all, because I was like that. You enter as a young man, you're like, yeah, or young person, sorry, don't want to talk about gender. You enter as a young person and you want to change things. You want to do something. You don't want necessarily to be an entrepreneur. You're more following the path where you feel more security in working in a business. And you enter this family business or this big corporate, and suddenly you can't do anything because it seems that everybody you talk to is indecisive. And it's like, I want to change things. Okay, what do you want to change? But it's like, I want to do something. And it's super hard because it's like everybody's telling you, yeah, you have to wait, I remember like this guy was telling us, like you have to imagine that the organization is a big cruise ship. I was like, okay.
I was thinking exactly the fucking same thing in my mind. That's so funny.
It's like imagine that is a big
Wow.
cruise ship, and you're like, okay, yeah, what does that mean? It's like, we're big. We can't really, waves can't really move us and everything, and we can go through it. But when you want to change direction, it's slow. It's really slow. Like you can really see the slowness. And you're like, kill me now. Kill me, just kill me now.
Wow, that I was literally about to say the same metaphor about a small boat and a big boat that
Again.
like one can turn super fast and the other one, yeah, again the boat, and the one the cruise ship has to like it's so long and you have the time to go do a nap for the whole day before the trajectory change for a couple degrees. It's so true. It's so true, and I also thought about another because I said that we were indecisive because we fear of missing out and because we feel the need to win something, but I think I'm forgetting the most important one, and the most important one is that we don't want to fail. We don't want to fail, and I think in fact that's the hardest one. That's the most important one. we That's why people are not in action. That's the main number one thing why people are not in action, because they fear to fail.
Yeah.
Because in society we should not fail. And do you know where that start like that? I mean, it probably start in some home, in some household, really, really, really when you're young, like before your first school. But right when you first start school at 5 years old, they tell you that you cannot fail.
Mm-hmm.
You all your fucking life, they say you're wrong if you miss a thing in the test. If your goal is to be perfect. The only goal at school is to get 100%, which is perfect. That's the goal. If you don't, you're wrong. You fail, you're not good. And your brain is so brainwashed that you need to never fail, that people get paralyzed, and they think that that an action that you fail to do means that you are a failure. That's this association that is so destructive, so destructive. And I had a discussion with Jamie with that last week, and I came up with something, and she will laugh when she will listen to that. I came up with something because she has that pattern of not wanting to be wrong. So she fights to be right all the time. And I also have a bit of that, but uh, I would say that I've worked on it from a long time ago, and I'm better at it now. But so I came up with the concept of saying being wrong, doing something wrong doesn't make you wrong. It makes you strong. Because when you're wrong, it makes you strong. You have to rewire your brain, but because for now you think that being wrong, it makes you weak, it makes you a failure. Doing something wrong, being wrong, taking the wrong choice and doing an error why you have this project you want to go, but you're paralyzed to go because you fear of being wrong, because you don't know it, but in your subconscious it would make you a bad person, it would make you weak, it would make you a failure. Yeah. Because you do one thing wrong. Well, I tell you and I tell everyone that's going to listen to that, rewire your brain and take that sentence and repeat it all the time. When you do something wrong, it doesn't make you wrong. It makes you strong. And because when you fail, you get stronger. When you fail, you learn more. There's nothing that can make you learn more and faster than being wrong and fail and fail and fail and doing, like, going to that restaurant and just fucking close your eyes and point something on the menu and say, that's what I'm eating today.
No, don't do that.
Who cares? No, if it's not good, whatever, you're still gonna have fun. It's maybe not a good example because you're not really taking a decision. But if you're hesitating between two, like, just stop and say, I'm having this one. And if it's not good, well, at least you know that it's not. And next time you come here, you're gonna take the other. And now you're gonna be boom. Voila.
Yeah.
So
for me, it took me, what you said just now, it took me 10, 12 years from when I was 18 to accept that. I mean, I didn't know that until, 5 years after I was 18. And then I started to be interested in startup, and it was like, okay, it's okay not to succeed, but getting that mentality that when you look back after that, it's experiences and not failures. It's changing the term already. I don't like, first of all, I don't like failures, because it shouldn't be a name. It went like into society where failing is nice. No, failing is not nice. Let's be honest with it. Failing is bad. It can take you like a lot of things. Your health, your family, whatever. It's not good to fail. You shouldn't aim for failing. That's the thing. It's not like, oh yeah, if I fail, it's okay. Like, on my side, I believe that you should always aim to succeed. Now, if you fail, it's okay, because it's an experiment, right? But it took me 10, 12 years to accept that. And now I feel better about it. I feel better about having failed in some stuff that I did. But at least I did them, I don't regret that, because I did them, I tried them. And I think this feeling is more important than anything else. Having the feeling that you tried, having the feeling that you got, just because you get some wins also in the thing. You will get some wins, and just having this feeling is worth anything. Is worth anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
But you're an entrepreneur, so that's also, you're an entrepreneur, so that's also a bit different for you. Having this entrepreneur mentality, and some people want it. If you're not okay with failure, you're never gonna make it. It's
impossible. It's impossible. But I know when we say like we're entrepreneur, we're talking more about like building business. But for me, in my opinion, everyone is an entrepreneur of their own life. So we all have to deal with decisions by ourselves at one point of or the other in your life. And that makes you an entrepreneur. And in fact, I had this really, really nice, I don't remember where I saw that, but I read somewhere that everybody is an entrepreneur, even in business and everywhere. All the employees that you think are employees, they are entrepreneur. And so he said basically everyone is an entrepreneur. And then he was explaining that when you're an employee, what people are, we are all entrepreneur, and we are in the business of selling our time. Mm-hmm. And the employee that go and that accept to work at the minimum salary, they are saying, I'm selling my time to $10 an hour. Who wants to buy my time?
Yeah.
And then that's just them. They decide that their time is $10, and they accept when an employer say, oh, I'm offering $10. I need services, so I need someone that's going to give me their time, and I am offering $10 an hour. And you're like, oh, I'm selling my time $10 an hour, so I'm going to go there. And then it makes you an entrepreneur. And I thought that this concept was so interesting. I'm not saying that's all true. I'm just saying it was so interesting to think of it this way. And just to to come back to the fact that we're all entrepreneur in my mind. So you all have to take decision in your life. And so if you cannot deal with failure, you won't like, it can cripple you to the point that you cannot fucking choose a meal at the restaurant. You don't need to be an entrepreneur to build a big business to be confronted with those choices that are really, really important. And everybody has to deal with failure. And what I want, I love your explanation of like we should not have the word failure, or it's not good. Like failure is not, you don't want to fail. You don't want to aim to fail. I think I want to add a little something on that, is that failure, it's on, like you can just talk about failure in relation to something. Nothing is a failure in itself. Mm-hmm. It's always in relation to something. You want to hit the ball and then you strike. Your goal was to hit the ball and you had a strike. So you failed in relation to your goal. But you're not a failure in yourself, because in relation to, am I a human being of value? The answer is always yes. So you're not a failure in yourself. It's always in relation to something. So you should strive for a goal, which the very act of striving for a goal makes the failure possible. It creates the possibility of success or failure when you decide that you have a goal. And like you say, you're gonna aim for the success. But if you fail, it doesn't make you wrong as a person. It just makes your goal not attained. But not attaining that goal will make you sit back, analyze, and try to find other ways to so it will make you grow. It will make you get better. That's why I say it makes you strong. Failing makes you strong. You don't want to aim to fail, but you want to be at ease with the possibility of failing. Because if not, you're going to be crippled. You cannot go, you cannot advance, you cannot take decisions, which are so important, because you cannot be in action if you don't take decision, and being in action is the most important thing.
I'm listening because so no, it's okay. No, I'm listening because I don't agree with one thing that you say. Everybody's an entrepreneur. It's not true. Everybody can be an entrepreneur. Yes. Is an entrepreneur? No. And I'm going to say why, because we forget something in indecision, which is the risk taking and risk adversity of each person, but it's totally different. When you were talking about fear, and it's Les Brown that says that, it says there is two types of fears when you're trying something. The fear of what if I fail, which is the one that you talked about, but there is another fear, which is what if I succeed? And he says this thing like really well. He says like people don't do stuff and are indecisive because it's what if I fail, but also what if I succeed and I can't handle it. You know, he says that. And I think this sentence says it all, because he says after, these people that are not capable to choose like because of that are not risk takers. I believe to be an entrepreneur, you have to be okay with a certain degree of risk. Everybody should be okay with a certain degree of risk. And it's like investing your money, you know, it's exactly the same thing. There are some people that will want to stay in their account because they're like, yeah, but if I invest it, you know, I may lose it. And this is why, you know, the banks are like saying, oh yeah, what is your risk adversity when you're investing your money? Because the first thing they want to see is that, are you going to flip out if your money goes down by 2%? I mean, you know that we're in crypto, and there are some people maybe that are watching that, but there is something that is said about crypto that right now it's the Far West, because it's only the strongest that survive in that. Like if you're not capable to see like your money going minus 10% plus 10% in a week or per day,
in a day,
you're gonna lose it. And it's exactly the same thing, you know, like, and this is why I believe that not everybody is an entrepreneur. Everybody can be an entrepreneur, but not everybody is an entrepreneur just because of that risk-taking thing. You're like, you said it yourself, like, you didn't have the money, and you went to get some money, and you went into building the business, and you continue for 5 years, meaning that on the side of this decision was putting aside the rest of the decision you could have made, for example, for yourself, like having a job that is steady, having a house, having an apartment, buying something, finding a girlfriend, at the time, having a family, going on vacation with your friend, all those decisions that people don't see, that people are not ready to be willing to risk to get the other thing. And this is why I believe, this is why I'm not only against what you say just right now, but it's on the rest, I totally agree.
You're so right. You're so right. In fact, I was thinking if the word it was using was not freelancer and not entrepreneur, that like everybody was freelancer because they're
no, but I heard
like,
that also, and I was like, I heard what you said, and I heard someone saying that also, and when I heard that, I was like, no, like it sounds good because that way you can sell stuff, you can be a coach and an expert, a motivational speaker, even. Obviously, everybody wants to have a dream of being an entrepreneur, of having their own business. So if you go there and you start selling to 10,000 people and say, by the way, guys, only 1% of you is a real entrepreneur, that starts badly the conference, doesn't go well.
You're gonna cut out the weeds. You're gonna cut out the weeds. only the most competitive are gonna stay. I'm the fucking one that's gonna win.
Yeah. Did we just do a full episode on indecision?
Yeah, I think we did.
Damn.
And
do you wanna I want you to end on something. Go for it. I'm sure you.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think the paradox is really funny because I came from being indecisive to which, if I would have continued that path, we would have not recorded today. I would have stayed in my state of mind of like, fuck, I'm missing out. I'm behind my schedule and all that shit. I would have probably felt bad all day. And by snapping out of it with one decision and just telling you, fuck that, let's just record. I took a decision and we made a podcast on indecision, part of a really fast taking decision. And I just think the paradox is amazing because now I feel way better. I've done the podcast, it's recorded. I feel really good. You can go do your thing. And I'm just letting it go. Like, I'm going to do my best all day. And if I fail, I'm going to fail. I'm going to become stronger. That's it. So yeah, that's how I'm going to end. And I want you to always remember, be yourself and have fun.
Perfect. So just before finishing, you can find us on social media at naked_podcast. I take my voice of you. And on YouTube. Thanks a lot. By the way, I checked the stat of YouTube and you're more and more watching us on YouTube, which is amazing. Which is, didn't expect that, but that's really good that you're looking at us. If you have any question that you want to send us, as usual, go for it. We'll have something to share soon because I did something like a small drawing of Naked Podcast, and I need to show you, and it will appear on our social media certainly. Thanks again, Matt, for this discussion.
Nice.
And see you next week.
I didn't even see it. Yeah, thanks, my friend. And thanks, everyone. Don't hesitate to comment and to give us your question or feedbacks. Super appreciated. And yeah, have a nice week again, my friend.
See you.